Hey, this is Troy Taylor, Championship Football Coaches Clinic. I got Coach Cap here today. He's a high school coach in Miami, Florida, and I got to meet Coach when he was at ODU and when he was at Christopher Newport. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing, man? Great to see you again, man. Be able to chop it up with you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just got off with Cooper talking about cover three, sky and cloud, strong and rotations. Um, for the people that don't know you, Coach, tell them a little bit about yourself and your journey. Where you're from, played high school, and all the places you've been.
Yeah, for sure. I'm originally from Bergen County, New Jersey, so North Jersey, about 15 minutes from New York City.
Which
Every
high
time
school?
I played at Demarest, Northern Valley Demarest High School. So, we still are. We're a really high academic school. So, when I first got there, we were terrible in basketball. We won like one game in 39, and football, I think we won maybe two games or three games. In like the last 5 or 6 years before my class got there, and then you know, we I took, we all kind of took it real serious, and we started to make changes, and we turned it around. We ended up winning a state championship in basketball and went to the state championship again. Football, went to the state championship my junior and senior year. I played middle linebacker. I played point guard. I played baseball. I played on the lacrosse team. So we had a lot of different sports, but we weren't a very good like athletics program when we first got there. But by the time we were leaving, we hung, three or four banners on the wall. So I played linebacker my junior year. We ended up doing really well. We had a bunch of guys that just really committed to working out and getting better and doing all the things, believing in the little things. The same thing that at any high school football team, the more they believe in each other and what they're doing, they're going to have success. And work hard and stuff like that. You got to have talent, but so
Yeah,
I
so
had like
you you made a great school. Y'all weren't the strong. The guys, they didn't for they stuck there and y'all around. That's kind of a rarity today.
Yeah, today it's totally the opposite. Like, I saw it firsthand, when I was a high school coach my first year. I was like, man, I'm going to get a high school job and I'm going to kill it. I'm going to win every game. You know what I mean? I figured out, okay, I'm a college coach, whatever. And I came down here and you get humbled real fast. My first year as a high school coach, I mean, I went 1-9. It took me 5 years of building to get to, back-to-back district champs and playoff wins, stuff like that. So, you know, after my it's totally different. Back where in Jersey, you can't transfer like that, man. You can't do that kind of stuff that people do down in South Florida. I mean, even in
And
Virginia, I
why
know.
is that? Because there's association in Jersey, or
I
is it
mean,
just
look,
the
if
New
you want
Jersey?
if you want to go to another high school, you better sell your house, pick up and move because they showing up with, multiple people from the district. They're showing up with police. They're making sure that this is actually your address. You better provide documents, unless you're going to go to a private school, which are like the Catholic schools up there, which are like Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco, Paramus Catholic. You can always go to
Yeah,
those schools. You have that choice. But it's if you go into another public high school, man, you better pick up and move. It's a little bit different down here, but you know but basically, I tried to do the same thing that I did in high school to down here. I took something that wasn't great and you try to make it great. And you try to exceed expectations and try to build things and make it better and leave it better than when you found it. So I played high school ball there in Jersey. My senior year, I led the state in tackles. I had 156 tackles. We played in the championship game again. I played Greg Olson my high school career. I played a lot of really good players. I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts. I played football there. I started for 32 straight games. Was one of two freshmen that played on the varsity my freshman year. We ended up having a really good team when I was a sophomore. We went to the playoffs. We were like 9-1, and then we ended up winning a couple games in the playoffs. Went to the third round. It was like a big time game, big time year. We ranked number 5 in the country. So I got to see, Division III football, but you got to play in front of 15,000, see a lot of different things, a lot of different people. And the college that I went to, Springfield College, basically I went for physical education. I wanted to be a PE teacher. But it's basically where we teach teachers how to coach, and we teach teachers how to teach and coaches how to coach. So Springfield is a legendary place as far as college coaches is concerned, high school coaches, and even NFL. You know,
Well, talk a little about those guys. Who all comes out of there?
I mean, you know, you got guys like Steve Spagnuolo. You got 8 strength and conditioning head coaches in the NFL are Springfield graduates. Look, just a couple of my guys. Like one guy I coached or played with, Joe Harrisimiak, is the defensive coordinator for, you know, Rutgers. My linebacker coach from there, he's the linebacker coach at Rutgers. You know, we're really all over. It's, you know, it's crazy. I have a friend of mine. I went down to the AFCA football convention. Good friend of mine from Miami came here, and I'm always telling him, like, look, Springfield, it's a big deal. So at the AFCA, we have our own like alumni night. So all the alumni, had to be like 100 of us there. Usually there's a lot more. Actually, there's a lot more actually, but you know, we get together and we have a whole alumni. You know, we basically rent out a place and, you know, enjoy the game and stuff like that. And my guy was with me, and he goes, man, this is real. This is really like a brotherhood, and that's what I always try to bring to any program that I'm with, building that brotherhood and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see. I mean, there's so many good coaches, and the way it's set up there, it's really outstanding. So they have what we call it the big three, okay? A head coach, offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator. Under each of the offensive and defensive coordinator, you have 5 GAs. So me at 22 years old in my 5th year of college, I was a full-time coach. I had my own recruiting area. I had my own position room. I ran my own meetings, you know, and our defense, like to a 10-0 regular season recently. I mean, he's the man. But uh-oh. Coach, did I lose you? Well, I think I lost him here. See if Coach can get back on here. I think your mic's muted now. Coach, I can't hear you. I don't know if your mic is muted. technical difficulty. I got you.
Man, dude, it just totally died, man. I don't know what was going on. I apologize. I'll be able to edit it out though. It's live, but I'll edit it out.
No, no worries.
The one thing I wanted to ask you was, is there anything on YouTube about the Springfield coaches?
You know, there's definitely articles out there. I know my friend was like, man, you got to make a YouTube or you got to make a documentary on this. I think there is something, but I don't think it's like on a huge magnitude. But that's something actually that's really interesting.
I want to get the guys together, man. Whoever you can get. I'll try not to lose the internet when we do it, but man, I think that would be cool, man. Because I got Josh McDaniels' dad, Thomas McDaniel. He's gonna come on. McDaniels, you know, he was a longtime high school coach. I know you probably know, man. He coached Maurice Claret. I mean, he coached at Massillon. He coached at Warren Harding.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so he's gonna bring a big. I mean, I've had some South Florida guys. I had Toriano, who's from Fort Lauderdale, and you know, I love New Jersey too, man. I mean, New Jersey's got great football. I mean, when I was at Virginia Union, that was one of the main places we recruited was Jersey. We had Nas Oliver, who's the head coach, just got named head coach at Malcolm X High School.
Oh, that's dope.
And he's from St. Is it Peters?
St. Peter's Prep.
Yeah, I think he's from there. He played at University of Tennessee.
Yeah, that's where Rich Hansen was the head coach at St. Peter's Prep forever, man. Good friend of mine, man.
Yeah, you might know Nas. And then we recruited South Florida and we recruited DC because we had a DC Maryland guy. But
it's right there when you're in Virginia. You know what I mean? Like where we were at Old Dominion. You know what I mean? I thought that place is still a gold mine to this day. You know what I mean? Like I went from Springfield, I got a job. And actually, it's crazy how I got the job at Christopher Newport University. The guy, Eddie Davis, who we spoke about earlier.
So were you at CNU first or ODU first?
I was at Christopher Newport first, and this is actually a good lesson for any young coach of how you want to get on at a Division I school. Okay, I hustled that job, you know. So my good friend and one of my brothers, my mentors, Corey Heatherman, who was my linebacker coach at Springfield College. He's the linebacker coach at Old Dominion, right? Yeah. I actually met at the AFCA convention. I think me and him were having a beer at a bar. Eddie Davis, Fast Eddie. Me and him talked about it. We had a couple beers together, whatever, hanging out. And he calls me one day. I get a call. I'm at Springfield. I'm trying to get different jobs. I like interviewed at Princeton. I was really close to getting a job there, didn't get it. So I get a call, right? And that's like, you know, you're leaving, you're on your way out your second year, you're graduating from your master's. I get a call from Eddie Davis. He goes, "Hey, Tom, it's Ed Davis. I don't know if you remember me, but, you know, he's a good dude, like good old boy. He's from Texas." And he was like, you know, he was like, "Well, hey, you want this job at CNU? I'm here. I'm the coordinator." I was like, "Hell yeah." He's like, "All right, well, I'm going to get you this job. All right, you just be ready." And so I remember I drove down. Me and my dad drove down. I interviewed for the job. I got the job. It was $6,000 for 6 months, okay? But I'd had my own position. They made me the damn video coordinator, which like ruined my life, okay? We had like a terrible system. It wasn't Huddle. After the season, I said, "Look, we're getting Huddle. This is a joke. I'm done." But it took a lot of my time. But Eddie Davis got me this job, and me and Eddie Davis were always watching film. He'd come in my office, "Hey, Tom, I've got all the Chicago Bears 2007 or 2010 red zone plays. We're going to watch them all today, okay? It's 2 hours long." Like, all right. I didn't have any family. I didn't have anything else to do, so me and Eddie hung out a lot. We watched a lot of film. I learned a lot of football. This guy had, in his office, it was stacked, just DVDs that he made from everywhere he went. This guy coached at Texas Tech, at Temple with Bruce Arians. I mean, you name it. Northeastern, he was the offensive coordinator when they were in the CAA. James Madison, the year before they won the national championship, he's on James Madison's staff. Okay, just a really great guy. Gets me this job, and every day, when I tell you any second I had where I didn't need to anywhere I had to go, I was going over to Old Dominion. I was sitting in his meetings. I was watching recruits with them. I was helping him do this. I was checking in on a kid at a high school, or I was, you know, going to watch the kid work out or something like that to help Corey any way I could. So Ed Davis goes, "Hey, I think, you know, a defensive line GA job is going to open up. We're going to go watch spring football. Come on." So he's like, "I think, you know, you need to get a PowerPoint ready." I said, "Okay." So I did that on my own. We go over there. I met the DC. He introduces me and stuff. Now, I already know the head coach. I already know all these people because I'm in that office all the time helping Corey, being there every day, just being around. They knew me by first name, you know, by the time I even got an opportunity interview there. And, you know, I was just driving over that bridge in Norfolk. I used to live, you know where Willoughby Spit is?
No, I don't.
You don't know where that is? So, like,
Nah.
okay. So in
I'm
Norfolk.
from Richmond, man. We don't even go there.
You know,
We
man,
don't go to Norfolk.
You know, you Richmond guys, I tell you what, man, y'all a different breed out there.
No,
You
we
know,
are, man. Dude, we don't even go north of the James River.
That's where me and Ed Davis recruited. So me and him would hop in his car and we would drive to Richmond, you know, and that's where we would recruit. So I got to recruit all those high schools, you know, L.C. Bird, you know, I mean, you name it. I'll tell you about that Bedwell story in a minute. But anyway, so I'm at Christopher Newport. I'm running and gunning. I'm going over this bridge. I live right on the beach. I just go right over the bridge every day to get to Old Dominion. So I'm still working at Christopher Newport. So when I do get an opportunity, right, to interview, there's a defensive line GA job. So when I do get the opportunity to interview, I literally didn't even interview. Okay, I sat in their defensive position or defensive meeting room. We're watching tape on Maryland, who they're going to play next year. They're transitioning to a 1A football team.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, so many good players there. They were loaded, and they kicked our butt. But I mean, so I basically sat in the room for like 2 or 3 hours, right, watching film. At the end of it, me, Corey, Coach Heatherman, and the defensive coordinator and the D-line coach are all sitting there, and he goes, "Hey, look, your resume speaks for itself. Corley speaks highly of you. You know, I think it's going to be a great fit." So I basically, instead of like trying to talk myself into a job, I just didn't talk myself out of one, and I just kind of shut up and, you know, kind of just read the room, and, you know, I ended up getting the job there. So, you know, you're a GA, so you're basically, you know, you're going to school and you're coaching at the same time, you know. But it worked out really well for me. Like where I lived at Christopher Newport, I lived right across the street from the field that's right there next to Christopher Newport. What's that local field? What's the name of it?
It's in Norfolk. Is it Maury? Is it Maury Norview?
It's not Maury.
Norview?
I think it's called Danbury or something with a D.
Denby.
Denby. Yeah, right there. So I used to just walk across the street to watch all the high school games on Thursday and Friday night. I met all the high school coaches. We'd sit in the stands sometimes. Sometimes I just walk onto the field. You know, we're a college coach. We're allowed to do that. You know, so it was a great experience for me. Christopher Newport's a beautiful place, $1 billion campus. They had 8,000 fans per game. I mean, they did it classy. They did it right. They just didn't pay their coaches much. I didn't get paid a lot. But I had a great experience, you know, and I was able to coach my own room. And that was like my really like, okay, I know I can do this. I can do this in this profession. I had my own position room. I had 2 guys all conference. I had the defensive Division II, Division III state defensive player of the year, and Evan Moog, who was like a 5'9", white kid from the mountains, but was just a great football player. Had a 4.8 GPA. Studied at Oxford. Had like 122 tackles. I think he had when I was coaching him. So we were really good. I got that job at Old Dominion in the spring, so I ended up leaving those guys, but I still keep in touch with all those guys. Matt Kelchner was my head coach, great head coach. I learned a lot from him. I learned that at the end of the day, even if you're having a meeting, no matter what, if a kid has an issue or a problem, man, you address it right then and there. You don't let it wait. You know what I mean? Like, you take care of it. The kid comes first. That's what the experience was about, and doing things the right way, but having fun. Me and Eddie Davis, we used to go up to, obviously that's where we recruited Richmond. So all those schools up there, we went to, Hermitage, we went to, you're in Mechanicsville, you know what I mean? All that good stuff up there.
James Tim says Town Bank Stadium. Is that the name of it?
I don't know if it's Town Bank Stadium. It's literally right next to Christopher Newport's campus.
It's a high school.
Yeah, it's a high school.
Yeah.
Maybe it's James. It's probably James. It might be Jamestown.
Yeah, Jamestown. I think it's in Williamsburg. I don't know.
I don't think it's Jamestown, bro. I think it's something. I think it's Denby or something with a D. But anyway, but no, I mean that was a great. I love that area too. It's a cool little area and stuff like that. But when we went up to Richmond up down the road, right? He takes me to LC Bird, and he's talking to me about Dave Bedwell, and Bedwell's such a good guy, such a great coach. And we're watching him. There was the playoff run that they had. Remember they had the running back who ran for like 1,000 yards in the playoffs.
Yeah, his name is I know his name. I'll think of it here in a second.
I couldn't remember the kid's name.
He played defensive end. He played defensive end.
He was playing. Kid was playing dang running back, and he ran for like 1,000 something.
His name's Paul.
There's 1,000 yards in like 2 or 3 games in the playoffs. He had like 400 yards in a game or something. I was like, unbelievable.
Paul Robertson.
And so we're at their practice. It's like late in the season. It's cold, and they're running a drill, right? And I'm watching this drill, and he's got 2 pop-up bags. And the defensive end, who was a great-looking – they had some good-looking DNs, long kid. He was just sprinting down the line and strong-arming and spilling the pad. And I said, unbelievable. This drill is great, that's how you teach it. Like when you play, I'm a D-line. I love D-line. But when you play defensive line and the tackle goes down, you have to squeeze the heck out of them, and then you got to spell it in wrong arm. I say squeeze, heel line, and wrong arm. Okay, those 3 things should be ingrained in every defensive lineman's mind, because what happens then, you can't get trapped. Then you can't, if they run power, you're going to force it to bounce. Everything you're doing, you don't want them to go north and south. You want them to go east and west. And when I saw that drill, I said, man, I'm stealing that. That is a phenomenal drill. I run that drill with my defensive line. And I'm
that's Matt Bland. Matt Bland was the D-line coach. He was the D coordinator for me this year.
Wow.
Undersized. He's the best. He was the best offensive line coach in the state of Virginia. And then he became defensive coordinator, and his whole philosophy on offensive line is to lock on. And then his philosophy on D-line is to avoid. Like, we never want to lock one to anybody. We go flat down the line, we wrong arm everything. So
got to.
Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful thing how that comes all the way back around. I remember watching this guy as a college coach and practicing, man, that's a great drill. And now he's your defensive coordinator. That's pretty cool. Now Bedwell, he won a state championship, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
Coach Bedwell won 3 in a row.
He won 3 in a row at the Bird, right?
Mm-hmm. At LC Bird, yes, sir.
So that was I visited him right before he started winning all those state championships, and I remember telling him, because me and Eddie were talking about it, I said, man, I can feel it. I don't know if it's gonna be this year, but I can feel it. He gonna get him one, at least a couple. He had something really, and that's awesome to. To when he won,
because they were playing Ocean Lakes. They were playing Ocean Lakes.
Ocean Lakes was loaded all the time. I remember going to those. I remember going to those practices.
I remember Eddie said that he had watched Ocean Lakes practice, and then he watched Bird practice. And Eddie said Bird's going to win because he was watching them do that trap drill, with those backers they had. One guy that was on, I don't know if he was the linebacker on that team, but Isaiah Moore, he's just coming out in the draft. He played inside backer for NC State, but Eddie said they're going to win.
I remember him. That's what me and Eddie said the same thing, man. I was like, I could see it. We could feel it.
It makes me think of Mike Smith. Phil Elmasian told him, Elmasian brought the 4-4 wide tackle 6 to Virginia Tech. And he told Mike Smith that the greatest practices he had ever seen were on Hampton High School's practice field. So that's really the greatest compliment you could ever give a coach, is that their practices are the best practices you ever seen. And
look, Coach Smith, I met the legend Coach Smith, you know what I mean? And the wide tackle 6, when you said it, I already knew who y'all talking about, the Hampton Crabbers, okay?
Yeah.
Possibly the greatest high school football program in the history of high school football, okay?
Yeah,
man. With one of the best teams ever. I got to coach with one of the famous duos, Ronald Curry and Armando Curry. I got to coach with Armando Curry, so, the famous Muffin and Biscuit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to coach them at CNU, and I got to hear all about the Hampton Crabbers, okay?
Yeah,
and I
man.
also worked with Bill D, so me and Bill D were really close, man. We worked together on he was actually at CNU and then went up to ODU. But I worked with him when he was on the Old Dominion staff. What a great guy, man. We used to hang out. We used to hang out a lot. All of us coaches used to go out a lot, and me and him, man, I had a lot of love for that guy. He's a great coach. So I knew all about Hampton High School. I knew all about Phoebus High School. I knew all about the local high schools, man. It was a great experience for me.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because you're like me, you're a football junkie, and like Eddie Davis was too. And like, have you ever watched Mike Tyson when he talks to Sugar Ray Leonard?
Of course.
When he tells him that that he loves fighters, that he's in love with fighters, and that he's so beautiful to him, and that like watching him fight when he was in prison at whatever he was, 12 years old, that's when he decided he wanted to be a fighter. And man, I love coaches, man. I love coaches. I love football. And like, you're from New Jersey, and then you spent time in 757. Now you're in Miami, and you love coaches. So like, you coach with Eddie Davis. I have Eddie Davis's trick play DVD.
You have his trick play DVD?
I have it, dude. I was gonna upload it to YouTube.
How did you get that? Okay, all that
dude.
stuff,
all I can say is divine intervention, man. I mean, I got it, dude. I got it.
Eddie Davis was still one of the one of Eddie Davis's legendary stories, right? So he was a GA at Texas Tech way back in the day, and legend has it that they were struggling on offensive play calling. The offensive coordinator, they literally right before maybe the last game of the season, they said, look, we're done with you. You got to go, whatever. So they parted ways, and Eddie Davis somehow got to call, like the last game of the season for Texas Tech. And, of course, Eddie supposedly, again, all legend, but, he went and they had almost 600 or over 600 yards of total offense, threw for 350. They scored 44 points. I can't even remember if they won the game or not, but I just know that he lit it up as a something-year-old GA. Okay. He had so many good stories, man. I mean, his high school was the same high school, and I'm pretty sure he coached them as Lester Hayes. I don't know if you remember Lester Hayes.
He played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Lester Hayes. He played for I'm pretty sure played for the Cowboys and the Raiders.
Maybe it was the Raiders. Yeah,
I think he played for the Raiders, the corner, the guy who used to have basically stick him just covering his entire body. Yeah. He was one of the best players, but he was literally played for them and stuff like that. So he had so many good stories, but he was so smart, and offensively he just knew everything. I mean, he'd watched everything, and all he was doing was watching film. There was never been more of a football junkie, than Eddie Davis in the history of the world. That guy, if you want to talk about a football junkie,
Bill Mountjoy? Coach Mountjoy? You got to meet him, dude. I'm gonna have him on the podcast. I'm going to have to go to his house, but he's up there, dude. Coach Eddie Davis, Bill Mountjoy. I mean, these are some guys that I've gotten to meet, and I've been so lucky. So, man, dude, I want to do a podcast on the Springfield coaches.
Oh yeah, we could totally do that.
I want you.
Yeah, I'll get a couple guys on there for sure. And it's crazy. I always see, our guy Gerard Johnson. You know what I mean? I know that was your guy from high school, and you coached him, and I remember him. Obviously at Old Dominion, he's a really good guy. I know he's a high school coach now, correct? What high school is he the head coach of?
He got the head coaching job at Caroline. The principal is Josh Just, who was the head coach at Hanover, and they had
okay,
Sam
gotcha.
Rogers. So like Coach just picked him to be the head coach.
Time out. You talking about Sam Rogers, like the Sam Rogers?
Yeah,
the one
Sam.
the one that went to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So hold on. You gotta stop right there. I got a story about Sam Rogers. Okay.
Oh man.
me and Eddie Davis, right? When in his insane run in the playoffs his senior year, right? Sam Rogers. So me and Eddie Davis are recruiting this guy named Sam Rogers, right? And we're like, man, this guy is an absolute stud. And every high school we're going to, as we get closer to Hanover, right? He asks him, hey, so can you tell me something about this Sam Rogers? And he goes, Coach, this guy, right? We're having the FCA convention or the breakfast, right? And the pastor doesn't show up. So what happens? Sam Rogers gets up from the back, walks to the front, just gives the sermon, gives an incredible sermon at the FCA breakfast. Like, okay, we're like, wow, this is crazy, right? So next high school we go, Sam, you talking about Sam Rogers. Oh, Sam Rogers, man, at halftime, first half, Sam Rogers got a cast on his right arm. Okay, he's not even playing quarterback. At halftime, he drops 2 interceptions in the first half. Halftime, he rips the cast off, comes out, has 2 interceptions, and he throws a touchdown after ripping a cast off. So it's like, what? This kid rips a cast off at halftime? Okay, the legend grows. Finally, when we go, right, we meet him, right, we sit him down in the room. It's a big. We sit him down in the coach's office, and we're talking to him, and he's like, Eddie was kind of a really good guy. Would talk to him. Was an older guy, kind of quirky and stuff. And I was kind of the younger guy, so I was kind of the recruiting guy really. But we were talking to him, and he's like, so I think you could be a great player for us. You'd be the guy. And he said, Coach, I appreciate your offer. I know your school. I really like you guys. I like what you do. I appreciate you coming to visit me. He goes, but I'm a Division I football player, and I got to walk on to Virginia Tech. He goes, I'm not going to be a walk on very long. And he went to Virginia Tech in like 30 seconds. I remember he got a scholarship, and he was a great player for them. But this kid, just the legend. It was one of the best recruiting things because everywhere we went, right, like there was more legendary.
He's a 4-year starter, man, at quarterback.
Stud, great player. Played linebacker too. Was tough as nails. I mean, and what was the coach name of Hanover?
Josh Just.
Josh Just, man, he had a heck of a year that year, man. They were making a crazy run, beating teams they probably had on paper no business beating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but tough.
Yeah, Sam Rogers. When you said that, man, that hit me right there. I said, oh my God, Sam Rogers, man, what a good guy, great football player, man.
Sam's the head coach at Hanover now.
That's no surprise there. I'm sure he does a great job too.
Yeah, he did. They had a great team this year, man.
It's funny. Everywhere I went, I tried to everywhere I went. I'm from Jersey, but I went to Massachusetts. Obviously, I played there. And I coached there. And then when I went, obviously in New Jersey, my uncle, Egidio Caporale, is a Hall of Fame high school coach in the state of New Jersey. Coached at Mahwah High School. Mahwah High School. So Mahwah High School, the stadium is named Caporale Stadium. I got to actually play there one year at Caporale Stadium, actually a couple times, which was really cool. But, coaching and teaching is in my blood. You know what I mean? And everywhere I've went, I've tried to learn the history of the places that I've been. And I try to find out and get the right people. So that way, I can always have good, strong ties and connections to go back there. And that's like really at the end of the day, when I was a college coach, that's what you're doing. You're making connections. You're finding good people and you're building good relationships with them. Like one thing about me is if you call me and you ask me, Coach, I need a favor. Coach, I need this. It was done the same day. If you know me and I know you like that, it's done. Okay, no problem. I got you, Coach. Boom, boom, boom. It's done. Same day. As good a possibly job as I possibly do. You need to get connected with somebody, no problem, And the other thing that I always try to make it seem, that I think is important is like when your relationship is me and you. When's the last time we talked? Forever? You know what I mean? We haven't seen each other in years, right? But at the end of the day, as soon as we start talking, as soon as it's like there's no hiccup. It goes right back to us being in the office together.
Yeah, we're football guys, man.
Yeah,
dude, we're football guys. I mean, we're life like James, we might as well just put you on here, man. Just put. I mean, James, you can text me your number. We'll put you on here. James has followed me since my last one. He stayed the whole 2 hours. Now he's here. So here's my phone number, James. Text me. I'll send you a link. You sound like you're a football junkie. We might be starting like some type of rehabilitation program. Have you ever been to Divorce City? Have you ever been to Divorce City, Coach Cap?
Oh, I don't even know. No, I'm not in Divorce City yet.
Okay, yeah. I have been. I've been to Divorce City. So,
Like,
hey, James, here's my number, 804-839-5244. 804-839-5244. Text me. I'll send you a link. Come on the show. James Tim wants to know, Cap, what was the favorite system that you ever worked for or with?
To be honest with you, I mean, when I was at so I went from Old Dominion University and I went down to ASA Junior College in Miami, and that was an opportunity where I got to like really work with a lot of great players, a lot of talented players, you know, a lot of guys that, you know, some older guys, stuff like that too. But we had an opportunity where I had a coach that like allowed me to just kind of put in what I wanted to put in. You know, as far as, okay, I feel like this scheme would work. It was a 4-3 base defense. It was attacking style. You know, it was really like it was a Division I college defense, and we ran it at the junior college level. We ran back-to-back first team, you know, or literally the number one defense in the nation in almost every statistic back-to-back years in junior college. That was the most fun I had because you got a chance to really put in what you wanted to put in as far as your techniques, and then you actually see them go on film and work, and you say, okay, now what I'm doing is actually being verified. You know what I mean? Being validated. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know I can coach because I coached this guy. He got this Division I offer, and man, his film was outstanding. So I used that film to like coach my linebackers in high school. And I said, look, if you ain't playing like this, you're not playing linebacker for me. I'm a linebacker. I take pride in that position. Defensive line, you know, when I was at Old Dominion, the way we ran the D line was outstanding. We got to go to St. Louis Rams and actually sit down and work with a guy named Mike Waffle, who was one of the best defensive line coaches in the history of the NFL. He coached. Look, that was Aaron Donald's first year in the NFL. He was Aaron Donald's first NFL coach.
Did you coach against Aaron Donald at ODU?
Yeah, I coached against Aaron Donald at ODU. He actually didn't have a sack, but they beat us up. But he didn't have a sack. We triple teamed him every play pretty much. But he did have about 3 TFLs, about 4 or 5 yards in the backfield that were just unbelievable. So,
and it was Tyler Fisher, right? Tyler Fisher.
Yeah, we had big Tyler Fisher. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Old school Ray Lewis defense. Yeah, I mean,
that's what we ran. We ran a base 4-3. We had a stud middle linebacker. We had a kid that was a stud middle linebacker. He was an All-American that year. And then he had like 25 sacks. We played him at the end on third down. But the backup on our team, a kid named Deronjay Matthews from South Fort Myers High School, he was a 4-star recruit at a high school. He had like 35 offers. He went to Butler Community College originally and then came to us. Coach, that kid, he was 6'2", he was 230 pounds. I remember I going to meet him in our little recruiting room, and he's like, Coach Caporale, our linebacker coach, I want you to meet him. And I said, he stood up and said, oh, my God, how you doing? Coach, my name's Tom Caporale. Here's my cell phone number. Boom, boom, boom. We need to get you here right away. I mean, you know, when you walk in, that kid just like a beast. I was like, damn, this kid's a baller, you know. So, you know, that was really where I got to have like the most fun in the system. And then when I became a high school coach, you know, I just put in my own system. You know, I said, look, this is what I want to run on defense. This is what I want to run on special teams. I've been a coordinator of special teams. I've been a defensive coordinator. And now in high school, I'm the offensive coordinator. Okay, I'm not like sitting here and saying I would love to get an offensive coordinator. But when you're in high school and your back's kind of against the wall a little bit, it's nice to have everything right in my hands. At least if we lose, I know I'm going down with what I'm calling in my, you know, my own mind and stuff like that. You know, sometimes, you know, when you get to the higher levels, it's better to, you know, you got to hand that stuff off. But at the high school level, especially when, you know, you have a real strategic plan of how you want to build it. You know, when I first got there, we didn't have any grass. Our locker rooms looked like prison locker rooms. We just got a $20,000 donation to our weight room. You know, we have 4 pop-up bags, just like, you know, everybody else. We have step-over bags. We have a chute. We just got newer updated helmets. We just got newer updated shoulder pads. You know, but that took 5 or 6 years in building a booster club and doing all that stuff.
Are you in Dade County?
Yeah, we're in Dade County. So we're in North Dade, you know, so we're in Dade County, man. I'm in the Mecca. Okay, they say if you come down here and you can win and be successful in Dade County, that's like getting a doctorate degree in high school coaching or coaching in general. Because one thing that you got to understand is this transfer portal that all these colleges been dealing with, man, I've been dealing with that. That's been down here since they passed, the parent choice. So, you know, that's never going to change, at least down here. Kids transfer high school to high school all the time. So it's a lot of different stuff that you have to deal with, you know what I mean, as far as coaching wise. And if a kid leaves my program, look, I tell them the same thing. I said, thank you for everything you did for the Lightning. Thank you for being a part of our success. I wish you nothing but the best. You know, you always know my number. You know what I mean? 'Cause, you have kids that sometimes realize the grass ain't always greener on the other side, and you can't hold like stuff. You can't take that stuff personally and all that kind of stuff, because if you do, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of heartbreak. You got to treat it
Yeah.
as a professional, just like you tell the kids to. Like I try to treat my kids like they're professionals. No slides, no Crocs, no Yeezys and stuff like that. Like that in school. I try to keep professional. Wear sneakers, wear slacks, wear the proper jeans, wear your crop colors like I wear every day. You can't wear no hat, you can't wear no hoodie. You got to make sure that you're looking sharp and you're being professional. So you have a chance. So whenever somebody comes and sees you, one thing I tell my kids when I'm walking around with college coaches, I've had 50 coaches this year already. I had about 25 in December, about 25 in January. Okay, we just had guys get our first Power 5 offer since I've been here in the last 6 years. So we had a couple guys get offered by Pitt, Maryland, Syracuse, Duke. So some bigger schools. Florida State's really close to offering one of our guys. So, we're at the point now where we really got some legit ballers. It took a long time. It took 5 years of developing these kids, but the ones that stayed, were able to prosper. This year was our biggest class, our first recruiting, like our first class that we brought in was this year. We had 6 guys sign on signing day, 5 guys to Division II, another guy to NAIA school. We'll have 6 more guys go to college. It's the first time in 10 years we've had any more than 5 guys sign on signing day. So, these kids, we did a college tour. We went to 7 states. We went to Old Dominion in the summer to their mega camp. Okay, we drove all the way up to ODU. That's right. We stopped by Christopher Newport too. So we went and visited 20 schools in 7 states in 8 days, 9 days. And this gave them an opportunity to really see, okay, man, I could go to college. I could do this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? When we're working back in South Florida, like 4 days a week, we're in the weight room. Twice a week, I give them pasta right after they work out. 3 times a week, I give them protein. Okay. All our guys do other sports, whether it be track or basketball. Track's a big one for us. Makes us a heck of a lot faster. I think it's a really important investment for us. And, look, the 3 of the colleges that our kids got offers from, we visited in the summer. So it's important that you get your kids on these college campuses. It really is. You have to get them in front of them in order to see them. And for us, a school that's not a blue blood school, we're not a Miami Central, we're not a Norland, we're not a Miami Northwestern, we're not one of the blue bloods, the original football teams that were great. We're really a team that really kind of first time in school history, we went back-to-back district titles, made it to the second round, won a playoff game first time since 2009.
Wow.
So it's been a process for us, but we did some amazing things. And go ahead.
I was going to ask you, I had a coach who he told me, he said, Troy, where I'm at, I have kids that look at me and they say, you don't understand me, or you don't look like me, or you're trying to change me. He's like, I can't relate to these kids, or they can't relate to me. And I asked the Verona coaches when we did one on Coach Chilcote, Puka, who's assistant at Puka was assistant at Verona, and Puka was assistant at Highland Springs. He said, Coach Chilcote told me that was part of my job as an assistant coach. So, like you're from North Jersey, man. I mean, you're from basically New York City, and you're all the way down there in Miami. Like, what's the secret? Because the guy asked that, and I was like,
yeah, look, that's honestly a great question. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably, it's a lot predominantly, Black and Hispanic coaches in Dade County. I'm, one of the few white coaches down there. But look, man, I don't see it like that, man. I see you as a person. I'm from Jersey, man. I grew up 15 minutes from New York City.
yeah,
There's everybody from every religion and every culture and every background. I could care less, about that. What I care about is what kind of person are you? You know what I mean? Are you going to work? Are you going to be loyal? Are you going to be, a good person? Like at the end of the day, you just gotta be personal, man. You gotta talk to the kids. One thing I do, look, I don't claim to know what these kids are going through and stuff like that. Like I'm from New Jersey. I'm I'm from the suburbs, man. Nice house. You know what I mean? I grew up with my dad hitting me in the ball, in the head with a football, basketball, baseball every day. My parents were always there for me. There's some households down in Miami and in Virginia too that, aren't like that. You know what I mean? But like one thing that I try to always treat, and I think it's really important, I don't know if enough people kind of treat it this way, but I don't try to be, I think a coach-player relationship is a really important one. I think it's a very, very important, kind of factor that can really shape somebody. You know what I mean? But I don't try to be something that I'm not. I don't try
You're
to claim.
genuine. You're
Yeah,
authentic.
man, I'm just exactly who I
I
am. I'm
mean,
like,
it's
look,
just. I mean, look at Eddie Davis. I mean, he's an old white guy with gray
yeah,
hair who's been coaching forever, and he goes into a school and he can coach anybody. Look at Bill D.
yeah,
Talk a little bit about Bill D, Coach. I mean,
man, Bill D was an amazing person, and Bill D had a real. I mean, at first you're gonna be, Bill D gonna be short with you, he's gonna brash with you, and I mean he's gonna drop about 50 f bombs. You know what I mean, which is great for me. I sometimes tend to slip a little bit too, but man, I just loved who he was because he was real. You know what I mean? Like I remember he had a rule. If a kid was committed, you weren't allowed to talk to him, and they would come in and say, "Oh, let me talk to the kid." Be like, "Look, he's committed. That's the rule. Nah, like, get out of here.
I
Blank,
love it.
blank, 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 bleep, bleep, explicit." You know what I mean? So, but that's exactly it. People, I think, respect when you're genuine and when you're real and when you say, "Hey, look, this is what it is. This is what I am. I'm not going to change." When you tell them the truth, I think it really hurts. Like having tough conversations with kids, is something that's really important. Like even when they don't want to hear it, same thing for me. I have to have tough conversations with myself. I think I always tell my kids, man, look at the man in the mirror. What do you see? You know what I mean? Are you seeing something that's genuine, that's lying, that's telling you the truth, that's fighting for you, that's going to work his butt off for you? What do you see? And you have to be honest with yourself sometimes. I have to look, I tell my players, I hold myself accountable too. Anytime we lose a game, I never blame anybody but myself. I always take responsibility. I tell them what we needed to do, but hey, that's my responsibility. I take that. And I do that so that they know and understand what that takes. Like just finding a certain level with the kid. You know what I mean? It could be about anything, but you don't realize when you walk by and say, "Hey brother, how you doing, man? Hey man, everything all good, man? You can talk to me anytime." Little stuff, dapping people up, enjoying each other, telling kids that you love them. I tell kids and I tell coaches and guys that I work with and known for years, you know what I mean? I tell them I love them all the time because at the end of the day, I think it's important for them to hear that. I don't claim, kid, look, I got kids that have literally nothing. Some of them don't even have mom or dad. And I'm not trying to be anybody's dad. You get what I'm saying? I'm not. I want to be someone that when you call me, I'm going to be there for you. Look, I've bailed kids out before. I've picked up kids that cops have told me, "Hey, this kid needs to get picked up." I've sat in courtrooms for both, on sat in courtrooms for kids. You know what I mean? When nobody else would be there to support them. So I think believing in a kid is the great equalizer when you're a football coach or when you're a coach of any kind. I think believing in a kid, picking him up when he's down, and holding him accountable when he's making the mistakes and he's being wrong. And you try to get him to make the right choice. Because one thing you can't do, if you just do everything for them, they're never going to be successful. You have to have them make the choices. And I don't talk about right and wrong. With the criminal justice system in the world, it's always crazy. But I always tell, look, you guys know good and bad decisions. And you know a good choice from a bad choice. And at the end of the day, you still have to continually make good choices. Like the 5 things that I talk about in my program. The first one is, the discipline, attitude, and effort. Those are our three. Those are our words, right? It spells out DAE, and we say have a day. Have a great day. You know what I mean? So it came into a great acronym for us by one of my assistant coaches, who you might know, Kevon Phillips, who played at Virginia Union. Actually, he was a graduate from there, played for me at ASA. Now he's one of my coaches.
Keep
Discipline.
on.
Yeah, Kevon Phillips played linebacker, played safety linebacker. But those 3 things. And then the other 2 things I talk about is communication. You got to communicate properly. You got to talk like a man. You got to stand on your own 2 feet in this world. And you got to be able to look somebody in the eye and tell them the truth. "Hey, coach, this is what's going on, whatever. I got to do something. My mom, this, whatever." You have to be able to do that, And then the last thing is brotherhood, man. Building that bond, building that brotherhood, to be able for kids to be able to talk to you sometimes. I have an open door policy. Sometimes I'm scary. Sometimes I can be scary to talk to and come up to. But I make sure, hey, man, it's an open door policy. Y'all ever need to say anything, it's between me and you, man. Nobody else. So you don't know what these kids are going through sometimes. You know what I mean? You gotta
Yeah.
hold them. You gotta hold them accountable. But you don't know what's going on at home. When I have kids tell me, this or whatever is going on, man. At the end of the day, you really got to make sure that you get. Really make sure you I take the coach-player relationship really serious. I try to tell them I love them. I try to tell them I be there for them and believe in them. But I don't try to be anybody's dad or whatever, because at the end of the day, I think that's an important relationship, that coach-player relationship. You know, just being real, just be genuine. That's one thing about me. People recognize and respect genuine, you know, and you know, real recognize real, the kids say. Look, that's what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the further south I've gone, you know what I mean? That's where the better football is, the faster football. It's more serious about it. But, you know, I think it's really important to help everybody. You
Yeah,
know,
no doubt.
I want everybody to be successful.
So we got James Tim says, give them every option like a card game, everything on the table. Then we got Javion Jackson. He left us a message here. Wide receiver from West Mesquite High School, 6'1", 180, 3.40-yard dash, 4.5, 23 receptions.
Yeah,
What's
that's got to be from Texas, man. West
oh, is
Mesquite.
it?
Yeah.
School coach in Richmond, Virginia, and Coach Caporale. He's down in Miami, coaching high school ball. But Coach Caporale's coached a bunch of different kids.
Yeah, I've coached 10 years at the college level and now 6 years in the high school level.
Okay,
So
Javion says he needs help. He's what, class of 20? Were you class of 23 or are you 22?
20. He's 20. I think he's 23. Javion, man, Twitter is free, man. You got to put yourself out there, and you got to look at schools that, you know, now it's, if you want to look at that, you got to look at the Division twos, the junior colleges, the NAIs, D3s, you know, and then the 1AAs and stuff like that. That's what you should attack. Twitter is free, bro.
Coach Mark James, who was from Dillard High School, Javion, he always talks about you love, it's you. So, like, at this point in time, it's like you got to with who loves you. So, your huddle film, and
I think that's a great one right there. You know, you want to go where you're celebrated, not tolerated, man. You know, get out to some local camps. There's one in South Florida that's going to be tomorrow. Larry Bluestein, who's a legend down there, has been covering football for like 60 years. I'll be at that camp helping my seniors. The 25th, there's the Orange Bowl Showcase down in South Florida, where there's like 50 colleges that show up. There's college fairs and stuff like that. Man, you know, when I see a player saying you need help, I'm willing to help, but you got to help yourself too. There's so many opportunities out there for you guys in order to go be successful and find a home. You've got to take advantage of it and be proactive. Look, well, you know why I get some of these colleges to come to my high school? Because I'd be on Twitter. I'd be DMing them. I'd be texting them. I'd be calling them. I'd be dogging these people out, you know, 10, 12, 15 times before I even get a response. But you got to be relentless. You know what I mean? Like the coach, even the coach, like Coach from Pitt, man, who offered one of our kids, man, Coach Partridge, great coach, big-time coach from Pittsburgh, was the FAU head coach, man. Me and him are good friends, but it took me 3 years to get in touch with that guy. It took me 4 years to get JJ Sider from Penn State, who I've been talking to for 4 or 5 years, to get him to come by and stop by Dr. Krop. So it takes,
from the muck, isn't he?
Yeah, man. You got to be a dog. You got to go and get these people. You got to be a hustler. That's what I am, man. I'm a Jersey hustler. I care about the kids.
Ooh, hustler. Yeah, Javion.
Yeah, don't be sad, bro. Man. Don't be sad, bro. You can do it. You know, you got to make sure your best clips are in the front. I say Twitter is free for all these guys because Twitter is a great way to promote yourself, man.
Yeah, Jay, throw your film up there. Throw your huddle film up there. We'll take a look at it. There, I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. I can't share my screen. I can move on my phone.
Look, you can just copy the link and post it on your Twitter. You know what I mean? Be able to give them some more exposure. You know,
weakness or things you need to improve. So James Tim asked.
I mean, my biggest weaknesses are, you know, probably I care about the kids too much. You know, so at the end of the day, I think some of my biggest weaknesses are in when it's critical times in games, quick decision making. Okay, I definitely need to improve on that. The other thing I got to improve on is picking up the speed at practices. So sometimes our practices can get a little bit slower, you know, whether it be weather delay, having to go inside, this or that, heat index, whatever. But the tempo of practice, I think, can always improve. It has improved a lot. And the last thing, it's just being able to, delegate and then follow back up and make sure the guys are getting the job done. That's important as a head coach. You want to try to keep taking step back as a head coach and put your coaches in position in leadership roles. The last thing we need to improve on, and myself, is and what I do is you got to take a step back sometimes and try to get your kids to lead the program. I always say this to my kids and our coaches and everybody in our program: bad teams, nobody leads. Good teams, coaches lead. Great teams, championship level teams, the players lead. So taking care of all those little things. That's something that I've got to improve on for sure. Like, I see my weaknesses. I know what my weaknesses are, and I try to improve on them year to year. You try to keep getting better at your strengths and developing that. It's not just about developing the kids. Like, we have exit meetings with every player in the program, and we ask them 3 different things. We say, okay, how do you feel like you did this year? What do you think you need to improve on? What can we do as coaches, me as an individual, us coaches, can we do to improve on? And then lastly, what is 1 or 2 things that you think we need to improve on as a program in general in order to become a state championship level program? That feedback is good stuff. All right, I see all your stuff there, Javion. Yeah, Coach, make sure you copy that and send it to me as well. We'll all post it on our Twitters. Try to get this guy some extra looks here.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I believe when it comes to what are my weaknesses and how can I improve them. But Coach, I think at the end of the day,
learn from. That's your greatest quote. I'm committed to grow. Hey, Cap, your screen went out. I don't know you might have to go to your Safari and make sure you put allow to the camera. Davion, I'm looking at your film right now, man. Are you using your iPhone?
Yeah, Coach, I'm back now. Sorry about that, man. I'm gonna have to let you go here in a few minutes, brother. I gotta
yeah, brother.
Gotta go meet up with a couple of actually my coaching friends right now and keep expanding the brotherhood and stuff like that. I didn't know how long you wanted me on here on this podcast, big dog.
Hey, man, me and you do every night.
Oh wow, okay. Well, look, you're gonna have to have me back on again.
I'm with you. I think me and you, we made a good team, man. Richard Anderson, this is my buddy Kyle. He coached at Lakewood when they had the Griffin twins and Isaiah Wynn.
Hey, look, we got a lot of great players. We got a lot of great coaches, and you're right. We don't get paid diddly squat. My money ends up going right back to the program. I just got my check. I think it was $3,500 for like just this first half of the year. They split it up into 2 checks. I only got $2,000 because of the taxes, man. So it ain't about the money. Yeah, okay. It ain't about the money, that's for sure. Now, if somebody's willing to pay me $100,000, I'll come turn their program around too. Ain't no problem with that,
Oh yeah, Coach. This guy right here, Coach. He's taking it to the crib, Coach. Is crib and watch this.
I'm gonna have to take a look at it. I'm gonna have to take a look at his stuff.
There he goes, Adam. Well, I know a school right now, man. Well, I don't even know if I shouldn't even say it, should I? Because it might be a violation. Hey, text me 804-839-24 809-5244. Which is it? This is a kick.
Gotcha. Yeah, a little bit lagging. But nah, man, that's kind of. I see that.
Wow.
Nah, that's
go ahead. Hey, it pops, don't it?
Absolutely.
Go to East Stroudsburg University. Yeah. That guy's got. Yeah, but get here, man. Go do what you do, Cap.
Nah, hey, Coach, look, I appreciate you having me on, brother. You know what I mean? We'll have to do it again, man. It's a lot of fun. It's my first podcast, so I I appreciate you allowing me to have that experience, big dog.
A lot more. A lot more. We got the spring. I want to do one. Davis, even Bill D. Yes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta do
No, let me
here.
know anytime, man. I'd love to come back on, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Coach.
I
Appreciate
you,
you.
Troy. Take care, brother.
See you, brother.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, John. Text. 839-5244. There you go. Send me a text, Javion. I know somewhere a guy likes to throw a lot. All right, so I appreciate everybody. James, Tim, you're the best. I'm is the best. You know, coaching. I'm probably gonna name this coaching from Jersey to VA to South Florida. Thank y'all.